Hi everyone, Megan here from Romance by the Book with the lovely Marielle.
Yeah.
And this month's Book of the Month author for our throwback pick, Risking It All, is Tessa Bailey. She's here to talk to us. We're so excited. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. I'm so excited to be here. I haven't talked about this book in ages, and I can't wait to hear your take on it again.
Yes.
Your take.
So I guess I'll just kind of bust out with my first question, which is you've said before that Bowen is still one of your like all-time favorite heroes. And so I'm curious what it is about him that has stuck with you all this time.
I think because he's a mess. I think like if I'm really being honest, I think like as much as we say, oh, red flags, like we don't like red flags in men, and that's totally true in real life. But in fiction, like, do I want to sink my teeth into a mannequin fix? Yes, I do. So I think this is a character who is completely broken. He's never really felt love. He's just totally. I just like he's out. He's not even existing in his body anymore. He's just so like over it. And this woman comes in and just like breathes life into him. And I think that's just so just like addicting, and also his filthy mouth has a lot to do with it, not gonna lie. Yeah.
Did not hurt at all.
Yes.
I guess I would love to know, because the way the setup was for this story, like we as readers went in knowing a lot about them compared to the two of them when they met each other. I think Bowen knew more about Sarah, and Sarah had like read his police file, so they knew some things, but not. But there were also a lot of like deceptions and things that couldn't be said. So we as the reader got to know a lot, or knew a lot more going in about what was going on than the two of them. Is that like what made you decide to do that as a setup? Because I think I've read books that are similar, but not quite like that. Not like, here's a file, this person, go in.
I don't remember what made me decide it exactly. But I think I just wanted, then to have this like kind of preconceived notions about each other, and then have those notions completely just washed away kind of in this like heat of attraction. And then they have to like basically relearn each other. And in just like the romantic sense, and this way of like, I don't think they really expected to get that personal with each other. It just was, they saw each other, they met, and like it just like kind of took on its own life. But I do like that they went in there with separate missions, and those like kind of remained throughout the book, because that's what drove the tension. So yeah, it was interesting to like have them go in there and have them being the most honest with each other probably that they'd ever been with anybody, while being completely lying, basically lying about, she was lying about who she is, and he was lying about not knowing that she was a undercover cop. And so that definitely just kind of was built-in tension it was just like really fun to write.
It also seemed to slow things down a little bit as far as how their relationship progressed, because they were so attracted to each other like immediately, that having that like layer of caution seemed to be like the only thing that was holding them back from like going to Vegas and just like
and just dragging her the caveman style to the courthouse, and putting a ring on her finger and a baby in her belly. Yeah, I really feel like the book could have been over in chapter 1 if Bowen had his way. It would have just been, she's my
like
woman,
that one. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You just saw her picture in the file. That's her? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's funny. So of course, anybody who's come to your writing in the last couple of years probably knows you more for your rom-coms, especially the last two, It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker, which were like smash successes, which must be so exciting for you. Do you find the process of writing the rom-coms to be a lot different than some of the older books that you've written, or does it not really change for you as in your writing style?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, apart from this series, like the Risking It All series, that was like straight up romantic suspense, like I feel like most of my books along the way have been romantic comedies with just like abs on the cover. You know, like I feel like now that there's an illustrated cover on the books, not a lot has changed on the inside. It's just that like now we've fooled Target into putting them on the shelves. So yeah, like I feel like there's always been a thread of humor throughout the books. They've always been high heat and you know, kind of like funny and lighthearted, despite the covers like from days of yore. So no, not a lot about has changed. Not a lot has changed about the writing process. I've probably just gotten a little better at it. You know, like I doesn't need as much maneuvering once the first draft is finished because I kind of like understand beats now a little bit more. And but I do think because rom-coms are so people love them so much that I probably do focus a little bit more on humor now, and kind of like creating situations for them to learn about each other in a funny way, as opposed to like maybe a darker, deeper way. Yeah.
Well, you're obviously very funny. Anybody who's ever watched your TikToks can attest to that. So that definitely comes through when you're writing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, TikTok. Wow. I like honestly, it's really nice to have a place like to it's like people don't take themselves very seriously on that platform. It's very like laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And that just really just like struck a chord with me because that's just so me. That's why I don't really go on some other platforms, won't name any names, but like, it's just too, like everyone's taking everything very, very seriously. And I just want to like kind of laugh because like how like, it's kind of like the reason I read romance for escapism. It's like, this is why I'm here on romance social media. Cause I'm like trying to sort of like connect with readers and have a good time and kind of like keep it light. And so TikTok is a really good place for that. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot.
I mean, I think even in these, like this book that had kind of a darker, more serious kind of premise, there's still such a thread of lightheartedness and fun within it. Like I think the relationship between Sarah and Bowen from the start had some really kind of fun. I adored the him like getting her to kiss him with the opera singer that just happened to live in the across the alley from the bar. When she goes to his house and he's got all of those murals, like it's serious, but also it's like the way that you weave like their responses to each other is really fun. Also, like those nuns walking when they were at the where were they? Coney Island. I mean, there were lots of parts in there that made me laugh, which I thought was really, really fun and nice. Like it was sorry, where's my pup? It was a nice change of pace from like the breakneck speed of, like betrayal and lies and everything that was going on in the rest of the book. Is that a thing that you consciously work at, or do you think that it's more your personality like coming out on the page?
Probably a little bit of both. Like I think banter is my favorite part of a romance novel. Like if it doesn't have good banter, I'm probably going to put it down. Like it just, because I think it's kind of signals like that a couple can be in a relationship for a long period of time, because I think you have to have a sort of like way of speaking to somebody that's sort of your own language, that is like you have to laugh with each other, you have to have fun with each other, you have to kind of like match each other's wit a little bit. And I think when I put that on the page, it makes me feel like that's almost as important as like a deep heart-to-heart conversation between the characters, because it's really showing that they have this like connection that goes beyond something physical, or they're not just having a moment where they need somebody. It's like it really is like we enjoy each other. So I think that the humor and that kind of like banter aspect of the books has always been really important to me. And so, yeah, I do like to break it up a little bit, like, okay, murder, and then like they go to an arcade or something just to kind of like remind, just to like give the reader a break, give me a break, give the characters a break, so yeah, I've definitely always been a part of the process for sure.
I felt like those moments were like the spots where they connected the most too. Like it was fun to see people who were like so like quote unquote like serious people be able to kind of let loose with that one person. It's the thing that made me think like, yeah, they belong with each other.
And that's like, I think that was Sarah, like it made it easier for Sarah to lose herself in him, and kind of like forget she was a cop for a while because of those light moments where she was like, oh my God, he's not what I was thinking. He's not this mafia, like, heir to the mafia throne, like murderer, violent criminal. He is someone who makes me laugh and makes me feel like, cared for and loved, and like makes me feel interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we discussed, Sarah is undercover. But she's like rogue undercover. She's not supposed to be doing this, and she's investigating her brother's murder. And of course, she finds out some things about him and her uncle, who's the police commissioner that she doesn't like and can't is having a hard time like coping with. And I think he is sort of an escape for her with that too, which definitely came through in their interactions together, especially in the like softer, like more funny moments. And he didn't even know like that he was doing that for her, but she, like you said, she kind of realizes it, which was really awesome.
Thank you.
So
I like to like the same but different, right? Because he has inherited this whole like leader of the mafia situation, and he like was not like that's not what he wanted at all. And she is police, but she's actually more interested in just finding out truth and like avenging her brother, but also just like solving this mystery more than pardon?
Putting it to bed, kind of.
Yeah, like I think from the beginning she's kind of like, well, this is the end of my police career, and she does not care. So it's kind of, it was fun to see two people that were like opposites, but really not so much once you got under the surface.
Yeah, like they had this kind of like misplaced sense of responsibility, that they were like almost too stubborn to give up until it was almost too late, But I love a stubborn character. I really do. Like I love a character who is doggedly fighting for something that is like kind of a noble cause, even if they take it too far. Like it really, because you can relate to wanting to avenge. I mean, hopefully we can't relate to this, but you can relate to how that would feel. Like you definitely wouldn't be able to just walk away from it and be like, okay, well, I guess, he died in this terrible way now, and I have no way of knowing really why. And you can understand why she would take it to that level.
Yeah. I mean, I guess digging in your heels is relatable. Maybe not for all, but I definitely could relate to being like doing this, and not to later being like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have done
something. Maybe I should have gotten off TikTok and like solved that murder.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I guess Megan read this book a long time ago.
And shortly after it came out, I think.
Yeah, because you were on kind of like weren't you on a Tessa Bailey binge at the moment?
In 2015, I think, is when I first read my first book of yours, which was Baiting the Maid of Honor. And I love Reed. Oh, still, he's the best. So, but then after that, I like went on a tear, and I think that Risking It All had just come out like not long before that. So, yeah, I read a bunch.
I just remember writing this book and like I was fully obsessed with it while I was writing it. Because like we'd introduced Bowen in the series prior, the Line of Duty series. Like he'd been kind of like a recurring background character that was like very shady, but also really charming and good looking. And
Troy was jealous of him because he was Ruby's best friend, and like she loved him so much. And like, of course, later you find out they're half siblings, though Ruby didn't even know that. But yeah, that was definitely part of like his characterization, like in the first the first series or whatever, when you first meet him.
Yeah.
But
And you know what the true story is, I tried to convince my editor to let me write a love story between Bowen and Willa from Protecting his
wow,
Little
okay.
Sister. Initially, that was my idea, and I still think that would have been a really good book. Like, she was like, no, I think you need to like take Bowen and branch out into a new series and like carve something else out instead of like trying to connect,
Right.
characters that weren't connected in any way. But I was like, I really did. I wanted to write this romance between those two characters.
That's
I mean,
funny.
I'm still obviously really happy with the way it turned out, but like that would have been interesting.
Yeah, Willa's book is a really great book too. But yeah, yeah, she definitely needed time to grow up. That's for sure. She was like the sulky teenager, and though I guess by the end of that series, even she would have been.
It would have been down the road. It wouldn't have been. She would have had to have been 19 or 20 at least.
Yeah.
I think she was only like 16 or 17 in her book. Yeah.
But
well,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I read starting with the Fixer Up. That's not the series, but that series was, I think, where because I had, what's it called, Disorderly Conduct? I had that.
Yeah.
I read that, and then picked up again with the Fixer Up series. That's not the name of the series.
It's Hot and Hammered, but I know what you mean.
Hot and Hammered. I don't know. I rename everything, so I'm very sorry.
Everybody calls it the Fixer Up series, and I'm like, that's fine with me. I don't know the series titles for pretty much any series that I read. So
at least you can find a book if you look that up.
Yeah.
But the last book that I had read of yours before we read Risking It All was Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is like a friends to lovers and completely opposite as far as like the relationship arc goes. I'm curious, which I already asked you before we started talking, because before we started recording, because I'm totally impatient, but I'm curious whether it's different, easier, harder for you to write those like slower progressing relationships, or that really like instantly attracted, falling hard immediately sort of stories, because Risking It All had such a short time frame that it had to happen right away.
Yeah, it is really hard to write a slow burn for me. I feel like I've done it maybe only twice, like to where I feel like it was a classic slow burn, although like not a Mariana Zapata slow burn, like to where they like don't touch until like the last page, nothing like that. But I get that. I think a slow burn for me is like, I feel like 65% of the way through the book is when there's penetration. And it is harder for me. I do like to have a lot of like thick sexual tension immediately on the page. And it's very hard to write it that thick without it being consummated in some way, whether it's just like foreplay or making like a heavy makeout scene or anything like that. And I enjoy writing the scene so much that it's really hard to like convince myself to let them develop emotionally and things like that. In Fox and Hannah's case, I actually had like a scene on the page where they, like go further pretty early, and it just didn't feel right. Like Fox, it like made things worse for Fox, emotionally, because he's like he's dealing with this toxic masculinity that's kind of been pressing him down, making him feel like all his only worth is sex, and his only worth is being this like Lothario. So I just really needed him to like get over that a little bit more and trust Hannah more before they had sex. And so like it was definitely painful, like waiting, because they were so attracted to each other. But I feel like the payoff was worth it. So.
It was painful for me reading too.
Sorry, like, come on. Yeah.
No, I mean, it worked out. I think for those characters, it was absolutely like the only way that it was gonna work out, because he was so, if they had slept together sooner, I feel like he would have it would have been easier for him to fall back into his, his persona that he had lived with his whole life. So I don't know, like I was happy with the way it happened, but I was definitely like, guys,
do it.
I know. Take off your shirt, take off your pants. But like, yeah, I know. I shared my blue balls with you. I shared those blue balls, trust me. But yeah, it's so like the backlash. I think I said this on Instagram that like the book I wrote immediately after Hook, Line, and Sinker was like fucking in the second chapter. I was like, no, we're not doing this twice. Yeah, it's.
I was trying to think what your other slow burn was, and I guess it's your another Friends to Lovers, right? Sink or Swim. Is that what it is?
I think sink or swim, although there's definitely like mutual masturbation in that, like kind of earlier.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like looking at my shelf as if that's gonna tell me.
Yeah.
I don't know, Make Me might be a little bit of a slow burn.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's another like Friends to Lovers, basically.
Friends to Lovers tends to be the one for me because I'm like, how am I gonna keep them friends once they've like unleashed this wild attraction on each other?
Right.
So I do think that friends, like if you're already friends, then you have it's a little scary to like, especially if you're very good friends, you don't want to lose that friendship. Then like changing the relationship can be scary.
Yeah, I agree. I wish I knew firsthand what it was like to be in that trope. Because it's just like, I'm so jealous of the heroines that get to do it. You know, like it's like they're suffering and they're like, oh, he does, you know, like, and I'm like, you don't even know how good you have it.
Right.
Stop complaining. You know, like sometimes I'm just like, I would love it if like one of the romance heroines was like, this is great. I'm attracted to this guy, I'm 25, like good looking. Like I wish one of them was like recognized how great things were. Like I'm an ad executive. Like I've got a cool best friend.
Yep.
Could tell him anything.
I'm gonna be making a TikTok out of this.
Totally. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, that's funny. I think in real life, most of the time, friends to lovers, people just stay friends, probably. I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but I feel like it's probably like 50% of the people are just like, and then we stayed friends forever. So,
yeah.
It's not to say that. It reminds me, I just read an article yesterday about Jane Seymour doing an interview about making that movie with Christopher Reeve back in the day, Somewhere in Time. Is that what it's called? Where he's like,
movie.
And how they actually like fell madly in love with each other, like while they were filming that movie. And they were both single and everything was great. And then like she found out right before she filmed the scene where they finally like sleep together, like right before he disappears or whatever, that his ex-girlfriend was pregnant and he was gonna like, you know,
get out of town.
Deal with that. And they like broke up and then, but they like stayed friends their whole lives until his death. And like she was like talking about this in I think she was like on a panel or something about like a movie and somebody asked her about him and she like just like let out all the tea apparently.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I love that there's a happy ending. You know, like you're kind of like watching it like, how is she gonna go, like how is this gonna work? And then like you see that picture at the end and they're together and in the past and you're like,
yeah,
oh, it's just perfect. It's perfect. Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, total tangent, but it just like, said that it reminded me of that. I'm like, yeah, they were like together and then they like spent their whole lives like being friends after that. But
interesting. That's
yeah.
great.
So sad.
I don't know. I feel like someone's gonna be
You feel like what?
Do you want to write a movie star romance?
Only if they end up together.
I can't do movie star romances. I feel like I may have done one rock star romance, but like I find it so difficult to like suspend disbelief that a rock star or an actor would be faithful for the rest of their lives. I'm like, I can't believe it. Like no matter how much I try.
Oh no.
I know. I'm sure it could happen. I have read books about rock stars and actors that I really enjoyed, but I think there's always something in the back of my head that's like, play them every time.
That's funny.
So
Now,
I'm
anytime I
like,
read
I
any,
write mechanics and sea captains.
Yeah,
Like, blue collar.
they'll definitely be faithful.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you also write heroes who are like obsessed with their women, which is one of your hallmarks, and I love that about you.
Always, that will never change.
Yeah.
I have to be obsessed.
I mean, that's the kind of romance I want in my life too, right? Like,
Right, like all in from jump. Yeah.
Agreed.
So if you want to talk about this, we can, but just like what are you working on now? Is there anything you can share about what you've got going on?
I've like already written a whole new series for Avon.
Oh, cool.
So like beyond the Bellinger sisters, like there's another series coming after that. But it doesn't kick off until the beginning of 2023.
Okay.
It's a family of like, it's a family that owns a vineyard, and it's like a son and a daughter, and they've kind of like both gone their separate ways. There's been some family drama, and then something brings them home. And they're romantic comedies, and they kind of like, they fall in love with some quirky locals, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, it's called, the first one's I think gonna be revealed soon. So it's called Secretly Yours, and the heroine writes she writes secret admirer letters to the hero.
I love it.
I love it.
It was a lot of fun, and he doesn't know it. She's like the gardener, and so like they're falling in love while he's also getting secret admirer letters from somebody else, and it's actually her.
Oh,
So that was fun to write. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that comes out in like, I feel like March of 2023, but I have My Killer Vacation coming out in June.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That blurb made me very, very happy.
It's really, that's the dirty backlash book that I wrote after Hook, Line, and Sinker.
Mhm.
That's just
Awesome.
filth, but like really fun filth, and it's in first person, so that was like kind of like a break from what I've been writing, and like being in the bounty hunter's head was absolute comedy. Like he is so confused by why he can't like wrap his head around this woman. He was like, and he's so fascinated by her. He's like, what is that a romper? How do you get these rompers off? Like, what is just everything about her is so confusing. And I love a confused man. So I do. So he's the perfect one. And I'm also gonna write a reverse harem rom-com.
Oh, that's right. From all the TikTok.
You can blame TikTok for
Yes.
that. So that's it. That's all I've got planned for the year is finish the book I'm writing, which is the follow-up to Secretly Yours. And then I'm going to write a reverse harem rom-com and just see what happens.
Nice.
That's
Hopefully
So the
it doesn't
Bellinger
get further.
sisters is the 2 books.
Mhm.
You've got the one,
My
Hot
Killer
Hammered.
Vacation.
thank you. I was like, My Beach Murder. That's not
Oh,
right.
My Beach Murder.
It's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate.
and then 2 wine books. That's a lot. That's a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a lot. I write all the time. I'm kind of like obsessed with this job. I have to be honest. Like it's really something I love and enjoy. It's how I escape. And like it's just that I can't take my brain off of the subject of like romance. And like once I get a story in my head, like I can't really rest until I've written it all. So I'm pretty disciplined about writing and doing it every single day. So thankfully I can get a lot of books out. And
I think I heard you say recently you've been waking up really early to write. Are you
I
still
do
doing
4
that?
a.m. wake ups. Yeah, I do
Oh, wow.
4 a.m. to 4 a.m. to 7:30, and I can get 3,000 words in that time.
Oh, wow.
Which it started off that I was my family was in lockdown, and so I was like, all right, well I got to get my work done before they wake up because otherwise, that's it. Like the
Right.
house will be loud, everybody will be asking me for shit.
Yeah.
Like my daughter's in remote school and I have to help her with that because the damn thing logs her out every 15 minutes. It's
Right.
just like, and then I realized like how much more I was able to get done throughout the day. Like once I had finished, I was like, oh my God, my work is done at 7:30 in the morning and I'm done.
You have the whole day.
I was able to like do more social media wise. I was able to like be more present for my kid and like actually clean my house once in a while.
The question, nap or early bedtime? Because 4 a.m. is
Early
Farmer
bedtime. Yeah, early bedtime. I go to bed at 9, 9:30. Pretty much start fading around the end of Jeopardy.
Right.
A good 90-year-old woman. So,
Well, I'm glad you found something that works for you and doesn't take away when you're needed elsewhere. So that's awesome that you've figured that out. I know a lot of people wouldn't be willing to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, probably, and I'm one of them. So I applaud you.
it hurts. Like it's some mornings it really does hurt. Like the alarm goes off and I'm like, I have to lay there for 5 minutes, like convincing myself to get up.
Mhm.
And by Friday, I'm a bitch. Like I am so tired. There are drawbacks, but it gets everything done. So whatever gets it done.
Awesome.
I get up at 4:30, 4:45 on the days that I work my day job. So I will think of you.
We'll
When
wave at each other across the
Yep.
universe. Yeah.
Yeah. In the darkness.
Yeah, in the darkness. So we have questions that we always ask all of our authors, and mine is, what is your favorite trope to read?
I like a forbidden romance. I like anything that's like, oh, we're not allowed to be alone. We're not allowed to, or there's like, whether it's this historical, like there's going to be a scandal if we're caught alone talking, or if it's like a contemporary and it's a best friend's little sister situation, or even like a best friend's dad situation. I don't know. I really like anything that's kind of like forbidden, gets the juices flowing,
Okay.
like I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Awesome.
I think my question we a little bit answered already, but if we were a fly in the wall when you're in the middle of your writing process, what would we see?
I mean, you probably see me like running the dialogue silently. Sometimes I'll do that. Like I'll be like, again, I'll talk back to myself and I'll be like, kind of like doing that unconsciously. Sometimes I try kissing on my hand, like just to make sure.
Does that feel right?
Just to be like, okay, so if he like slanted his mouth and like nudged her, like what would that be like? And so I will do that on my hand sometimes. So it really not much has changed since I was 11 years old.
I love to know that you're like acting out as you write.
I do, and sometimes I just hysterical laugh because I wrote like this morning. When I was writing a scene, and the hero is like kind of he's the next SEAL, and he's very like, he's kind of like Brent Mason. He's a little bit Brent Mason-y. He's like big,
Okay.
loud, funny, and sort of goofy. And the heroine said something about what, like, she was like, I was voted most likely to like, oh god, I can't remember what it was, most likely to prank somebody or something in my high school yearbook. And he was like, I was most likely to sneak up on to take you by surprise. And she was like, like something about farting. And he was like, no. He's like, actually it is, because I would sneak up behind people and fart. I was just like,
What?
dying laughing in my office. And I was like, I don't even know if this is gonna get like taken out by my editor, because
I hope not, because I want to read it now in context.
and it's like, I don't know if it's sexy for a hero to fart, but like in this hero, it just works, like there's some that it wouldn't work with, but he is so like, you're like, this is a frat boy, like a grown-up frat boy who's like also kind of like very heroic and has a heart of gold, but farts. So stay tuned for that.
Did you ever read Lord of Scoundrels? It's like probably one of my all-time favorite books. But they have a carriage. They have a carriage ride home, like that takes several days. And she talks about how he just does like fart jokes and like bathroom humor the whole time. So the heroine's like, "What is it about men and these like fart jokes?" But he thinks he's like gonna horrify her, and she's just like laughing at him. So anyway, you just reminded me of that.
Is that like Lorraine Heath? Is that?
That's Loretta Chase.
Loretta Chase. That's what I meant. Yeah, I knew it was an L.
Mm-hmm.
An L author.
That book is, I think I enjoy it so much because he like the entire, even from the beginning, like he meets her and he's just trying to like like scandalize her, and she's just like, he shows her this pocket watch that has like a clockwork thing that if you turn this, it there's a woman with a big dress, and if you turn something in the back, her skirt's open and there's a man under there. And he's like, oh, what is she doing? And her response, Jessica, the heroine's response is, oh, I need to get this for my grandmother. Like, she would love it. And so the entire time he's just like, what? Because every time he tries to scandalize her, she's just like, her response is not what he
I gotta read. I feel like I have read it because I feel like I read that Lord of Scoundrels, you said it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old book. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's the historical was my thing for, at least 100 years. Like all I read. So, and I read a ton of Loretta Chase. So that I definitely read that one.
Yeah. It just depends how long back, right? Like the things that stick with you are always different. I think I've heard Adriana Herrera talk about that book, and she is like all about this like cape that she wears to shoot him. Like she the heroine like dresses up in this, and she's like, yeah, this mantilla. But like every time she talks about that book, I'm like, I know your favorite scene because it's that outfit. And I'm all over here with the like fart jokes and
the dirty pocket watch.
Yeah. Fart jokes really resonate. Yeah.
Well, Tessa,
I just love a heroine that surprises, I guess, is all. Which probably is why I enjoyed Sarah and Bowen so much too, because every time she opened her mouth about something, he thought she was going to be like upset or mad, and she'd be like, "Oh, it's pretty." I like she would say something that like that's what got me about the murals and stuff too. And her like, did you make a halo over my head? Like, just, and she notices all the things that he thinks no one will.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love characters surprising each other. Like I think that probably goes along hand in hand with banter for me. Like I really love it when they manage to catch each other off. Like they like think they know the person, they think they have their flavor, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you just like pulled me out of my fog, So that's really satisfying.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But thanks for writing all of that into your
My pleasure.
It was so fun revisiting this book and getting reminded of all these characters. I definitely am going to do a reread of Connor soon because he was obviously a big side character in that book. And I did name my son Connor. So obviously I have a big love for that book.
That's right up there with the tattoo, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It definitely is. Yeah. It's like one of them you can't take off though. So easily.
So thank you so much for doing this. We really
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We will look forward to My Killer Vacation because we're both
it's coming soon. 2 months, I think, right? Less than 2 months.
Oh yeah, I guess June. So
wait,
less than June.
Wait, a month and a week or something.
Yeah.
I should probably figure that out.
You're like,
also,
June.
Yeah, I should figure that out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, in the meantime, we'll find you TikTok, Instagram, website,
Facebook group,
all the places.
Yep.
Yeah, TikTok at author Tessa Bailey, and TikTok and Instagram I'm Tessa Bailey as an author, and yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. TessaBailey.com. This is my website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, and we hope you enjoyed catching up with this throwback read. And Tessa, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.